Okay, hey y'all. I decided that I was going to make a video tonight and show you that you can use any type of supplies. So I pulled out all these cheaper paints to try and make something. I don't think you can see it in the shot. There we go. Try and make something beautiful with some really cheap supplies so that you can know that you can go to an art supply store and pretty much start from probably $20 worth of supplies, like I say in my online course. If you haven't heard of it, it's Amateur to Earning Artist in 60 Days, because I started painting last April. And then the first couple months, I had 40-something commissions. I couldn't keep up. It was super fun and also a little stressful, but I'm really grateful for it and for the experience. Let me see, can you see this palette? There we go. So, you know me, making a little bit of a cute palette paper. I don't mean to. It just ends up sometimes being cute. Okay, so sometimes these are clogged up. There we go. So I'm just putting a few colors down that I think will look pretty together. And let's hope they do. And some are opaque and some are transparent, but I'm not sure which. I just kind of looked at it whenever I was grabbing them. And then I always put some white and black just in case. So what I'm going to do is just start by putting some marks down with some of these I should probably use some of the cheaper ones. I just really don't know how they interact with stuff. I don't want to ruin it. Okay, but I know for sure you could use these just to mark up your page. What if we just do a pencil? Because anybody can do a pencil. And then this is just me starting the page off so it's not completely blank. And just being free and telling it I'm gonna just do whatever I feel like and just lead me in the direction that it wants me to go. And really I end up usually having an empty space in the middle of all my paintings, and I don't know why, but that's okay. So I brought my cup of water out and then don't want to drink that. So let's see what we can do here. I'm just gonna start with this dry brush and put some colors down. I like to do the color with some white and then the color by itself so that there's a couple shades of it. So I don't know if you can still see this palette. I'm going to try and make sure you can. There we go. I'm just going to make some areas of different colors. And anybody that's watching, comment if you've ever painted a bug into your painting and watched it just kind of have to die because you couldn't get it out. Because I have. And I hate it, but you need to mind your business and go somewhere else. I'm in here trying to create beautiful works of art. Okay, and you can go ahead and rinse your brush and then just kind of dab it off if you want. To change colors, you can change brushes, whatever you feel like. Everybody does it different. Just dabbing that off a little bit. And then a lot of times you can't see when people do time-lapse videos what they're doing with their brush, so I'll try and tell you. I wetted it a little bit, got some of that blue off. Now I'm just putting on other colors. And then this yellow's already on here, so we'll put some of that down. And it'll turn green because it's got some blue. That's okay. I'm gonna put just plain old yellow in a couple of spots if I can. It's wanting to turn green because of all the other stuff, but that's okay. This is just a first layer. And this is one of those things, even if you are gonna use really fancy, nice paints later on, you can knock these first layers out with some cheaper paint and save your good stuff for later. Now, you would want to dry this before you started with any of the other brighter colors that probably won't go and will make muddy messes. But I'm just going to throw some white on here in some of these areas just for kicks and giggles. Just because I like to get that cloudy look that you can get when you put some white over some just freshly laid down paint. You can also do that with a spray bottle. I do that a lot. And then take it off just a teeny bit with a paper towel or a damp napkin or baby wipe. It'll give you that cloudy look too. One thing I haven't done that I need to do real quick is just put some little, go ahead and put some little lines in this with like a palette knife. So just randomly scrape through some of this first layer. And you can see how like the darker blue pops out from under there and the yellow out from under there. So it's just fun. You can even see some of the pencils still, which is cool looking. And I'm just putting some more of this white on my paper and my desk. And that's gonna happen. So the other ones can have a second to dry, just like the blue and yellow or whatever. Ooh, good times. And then we will put some other colors on and we'll scratch through those too. And then we'll put marks on top of that and make sure we have a pretty decent composition. And that's about it for these type of abstracts. They're super easy. You could do 15 a day, I mean, if you wanted to. I'm just putting some of that blue back on the top a little right here because I like it. I took a lot of it off. And you can do some of this in here. It looks good. Maybe some random lines with it. You can wet your brush, just kind of barely dab it off. Don't dry it all the way. And just get some little thinner pieces of that paint with water on your brush and make some cool looking. Probably do better if I did like a thin brush right now. So, but you get the idea. Oh, that's old paint water over there. My bad. Yeah, I left it here for a couple of days. That's kind of my MO. All right, so then I might want to put down some of that pink. I'm not sure if there's areas that are dry. So let's see. See what happens. I'll show you what I'm going to use. So this is a little gnarly nappy brush. And that's fun to just get some random spots of paint. Especially when you're doing something really... Oh, you got black in there too just now. Okay. Didn't mean to do that. But that's a fun kind of a brush normally. But like I said, this is the first layer of this, so it's completely fine. It's not going to ruin anything that we are creating because we're not really trying to create anything yet. And I'm just putting some more of that pink down, getting another brush that doesn't have black on it. And just randomly making some marks that may or may not show through later. But this paint is super cheap, so just have some fun with it. Wet your brush, like I said, get you a little thinner spot. I got that black in there again. Let's just bleed it out a little bit like this. Just make a little bit of a fun, thin color that you can do like this. And just put some marks on. And you don't know what's going to show up later. That's the fun of it. So, I really love that pink color. I'll have to tell y'all what that is, because even though it's cheap, it'll be a good layer to pop out from underneath. And it looks pretty nice, even as a top layer color, you know? Because look how thick it is and rich and creamy. I really like that brush. See if I can get it a little bit clean so I can use it again. I should really be letting this dry right now. That's my biggest weakness. Besides not wanting to wash my paintbrushes, I do not want to watch paint dry. It's quite literally just as boring as they make it sound. Ugh. Sorry, y'all. This one is so hard to get the paint out of. I do not know what the heck that's about. Probably because it's really cheap. Now I'm just putting some white in some spots. You know, if you don't really know how to make sure you have all of the tones, you can use the black and white filter on your camera. Just take a picture of it and it'll show you what all grayscale you have, because you want to have a little bit of everything. So that's why I'm just putting some different places down with some white. My Hulk hands to get this paint out. Oh my God. If I was doing this in the morning, I probably wouldn't be able to squeeze it. My joints don't work till about 10 a.m. But I'm going to thin this down just a little bit too, just because it's fun to do that. And then I'm going to, oh, that's nice. That pink is pretty. I'm going to just mark on this some more. And then we're going to just take this palette knife thing and run through it again, because I really like doing that. And another thing you can do is take a colored pencil. I mean, you can take any pencil, but colored pencil is fun. Sometimes the color will pop up on top of. But you can see how there's so many layers already. And we haven't even paused to let it dry. And God only knows what'll come up whenever we're done. But colored pencil once this dries, and then do a little bit more, and then see what happens. I'm probably gonna have to let it dry for a minute because everything's just gonna get muddy. But that'll be a good first start video. How many minutes do we have? 11 minutes, perfect. And you can see my palette, and this is where we are. And we'll do the next layer once this dries. Okay, hey y'all. Because I was about to go to bed, I went ahead and took my palette paper and just flipped it on top of my painting and put the leftover paint from my palette right on top of that. So there's going to be some extra paint that wasn't on there before. And I just took my palette and I moved it around a second so it'll be able to dry, and then we'll be able to start with this. But I still want to waste the paint that was on my palette. Okay, hey y'all. That layer's dry and I really like this blue color. So I'm going to put some more on my palette because I want to add a little teeny bit more to this painting. And I'm going to, let's see, this is an opaque color already, but I'm going to lighten it up just a teeny tiny bit with my white paint that's super dang hard to get out of this tube. Lord. And then none of my palette knives are ever clean, so that's fun. There's like these screwy things on this table from where it's an actual dining room table that has leaves or whatever that can drop down or drop in or whatever. And it always puts these weird bumps. That's why I really want a drafting table. And it probably won't be very, very far into the future. Y'all see me on here with a brand new drafting table painting and I bit the bullet. Give me another Prime Day because I'll be loving a sale. All right, so I actually like that brush I used a minute ago. I'm going to just try and rinse it out just a teeny bit more. I gotta get some napkins. Y'all get Dollar Tree napkins and stuff because they don't have to be fancy. One of the videos I was watching one day, someone was talking about how pretty their napkins are whenever they're done and how sometimes they use them in collage. I did that, and I had a beautiful collage that I sold when I very first started painting. But look at that. It accidentally ends up being another piece of art. Right now I just am covered in paint. Sorry about that. So I just want to put some random areas where this paint color is on here again because I love it. One thing I'm trying to get myself out of the habit of doing is making all round lines, because some of my favorite art that I'll save, and y'all probably do it too, from other artists is more like diagonal lines and I don't know, marks that I'd be afraid to make. So I've been trying to stop doing sweepy things and just trying to make some sharp edges. So I like the way that looks. And to get different strokes or whatever, different strokes for different folks. You want to change up your brush too, you know. So I'm going to put a little tiny bit of white on here. My gorilla hands. Oh my God. I'm going to just tell y'all, this is some heavy-bodied, cheap paint, but it is so hard to get out of here. I don't even know where it came from. And maybe it's not cheap. It could have come from an art supply store. I don't know if it's cheap. that explains a lot. Who even knows? So I'm going to use, I might have a longer one. Let me just, I have a longer, skinnier brush. Let me use that, yeah. So I'm going to use a longer, skinnier brush. I'm going to wet the end of it and put some of this white down in a really loose manner too. Because I want some pops of white. But I don't want it to be like on purpose, you know. There we go. And you can, look at that, I got black right on the end of that one. Dang it. You can use the other hand. Like for me, I'm left-handed, so the right hand is my wrong hand. And this is some really good layers and fun marks to create a background with. And also it's just already a really pretty piece of art to me. The colors and the different things on the grayscale or whatever, I already kind of like it. But I'll do some more to it. See if I can get any more of these marks in any of this paint. Yeah, some of that white is still, it's just fun. Whenever you go to look at a piece in person, you can really see all this better than you can on a picture. Sometimes it'll make that noise. It reminds me of a chalkboard, which I don't like. But I'll show you what I did a minute ago. I took this palette page. This is wet paint right here. And I just did this. Because why not? You know, then you get unexpected marks and you're not going to waste the paint, you know. And then we'll come back and mess with it a little bit more. Okay, hey y'all. Y'all are not going to believe what I'm doing now, but I was sitting here looking at this and I was like, maybe I could try and do one of those really wild looking loose floral expressive things, because I see like these 3 blooms here and then maybe like a vase or whatever down here in the bottom corner. And I don't know, but I'm going to try because I haven't ever done that before. And then if it doesn't turn out well, y'all will never know because I won't post it. Okay, that was too funny. But I don't know really where to start. So I sort of want the container to be here and these to be the 3 blooms and maybe some leaves. I'm not really sure what kind of thing to mark with. Maybe, and so like I was going to try and do things that are affordable. So like, y'all have to excuse my arm. If you don't have Posca pens, you could always use just black Sharpies. So I'm going to use a Posca pen just for a couple of lines. Let me make sure it works. Y'all ever have to do that? So just to get an idea of where I want these to be, I'm not going to circle them because flowers aren't really necessarily circles, but the idea of the flower there, and here. And maybe now that I'm doing that, you can kind of see where I was talking about. And then this would be like the container. You can't see the whole thing. And then maybe there would be a couple of like leaves there. And here. And here. And maybe there wouldn't be. But in my mind there are. So now maybe something a little bit thicker and more colorful. I don't want to put oils on here yet because y'all know how they do. They be messing things up. So I'm going to put this one leaf, idea of a leaf right here. Where I had that black line, I'm not covering up the whole black line because I'm just want it to be like an expressive floral. And then I had another one somewhere else. Oh yeah, here. So I don't want to go too crazy, but I do want it to be like, oh yeah, I see that. I can see that, you know. I'm making this up as I go along, if y'all are wondering. Okay. And then for my container, since I already have a lot of pink on this, I'm just gonna kind of fill it in a little bit. And this is all water soluble, so if you get really bored with it, you can move it around with some water. just because I like to do a little bit of dark on top of some light. I'm doing that with those leaves. And what else? I'm going to put a couple of lines of this pink around in here. Just so I know where I'm headed. And you can obviously do this all on your own. Oh, I went too hard, literally broke that sucker. But for me, this is my first time trying one of these, so I don't want to go too crazy. So it's already kind of getting the idea of where the bouquet is that I was looking at. And we can kind of wet some of this green. Make sure I don't have anything on that brush. And that way it doesn't look perfect, because we don't want it to look perfect. I think I did get some pink on that brush. Maybe it's in the water, who knows. But so you can still have some of it there, but not perfectly like it was. Just sort of like the idea of it is better. And because these are water soluble, you see how that kind of blends it out some. I'll do a couple of other colors in here too. Maybe some blobs of paint. I don't know. I think I might have bitten off more than I could chew. Because I don't really know how to do this type of a painting. We're learning together, y'all. This pink might be too bright for this. I still think I'm going to put just a couple pieces in here. Probably more than I wanted to already. I don't know if anybody's ever told you about trying to draw flowers, but it's basically just a bunch of semicircles. So it doesn't have to be perfect, that's for sure. I can already tell I'm not going to love what I just did. But I like that texture. And I don't have a white one anymore. It's all gone. And I need to order another one. I have this purple one. I'm going to use some in the container down here. Just because I like the way it looks. Like, I don't know if you can see it from the camera angle. But the texture of it's so cool looking. And I'll just have to cover up some of that pink I don't love with some regular paint. I'll tell you what would have been cool is if I used some of my drip machines before I used that. I don't want to ruin them. But this one stayed out all night last night. Little party animal. No, but the mop head on it dried out. And they have other ones that they sent me. But I haven't replaced it yet. But I'm super frustrated with it. Because these things are so great. So I need to change that. So if it gets some of this on there, it's okay, because it needs to be changed anyway. And obviously, this is some wild and funky colors. Not everybody would want this in their house. I'm trying to put the center of this flower a little bit off because I don't want it to look too matchy. But these colors are fun, but they're not necessarily for everybody. If you're painting your art to try and sell it, these won't sell fast, just from experience. But they look cool, at least to me. You can go back in and do the centers with something else, but like I said, I normally wouldn't do this with one of these, but this one's kind of shot anyway. I'm going to just scratch some into this, because I want it to be rough. Like, obviously still flowers, but not cutesy Southern Living flowers. Maybe I need to put just a teeny bit of this highlight on these leaves. Maybe I'll put one up here too. I didn't really do that before. And you don't have to. Just thinking about the space. So I'm just randomly scribbling some green on top of that. So again, that's what the leaf sort of would be like, right? All right, now, I would say last but not least, but we all know that I have a hard time stopping things. I'm gonna pick this up and look at it. Wow. The container is off the side of the paper. What was I doing? What did I do wrong? The container's over here. The flowers are over here. Oh my goodness. What? Why? Okay. I think what I'm going to have to do is bring the container over here. Oh my Lord, help me Jesus, take the wheel. That's what I'm going to have to do. And it's not going to be nearly as cool because you're doing over top of something that you've already done. But otherwise, it won't make sense proportionately. Now it just is going to look like a big kind of a dish full of plants, which is fine, but you have to kind of make it look as similar as we can because you don't want it to look like an afterthought, which it 110% is. Welcome to my channel, where we learn together. And now I probably do need a leaf right here, and maybe here, and there, and here. And I really don't know if I do, but my eye's telling me that I do, so I'm using that. And so my container now is more like a big round dish type thing. And these leaves are gonna look a little bit funky for right now, but we'll sort it out. Because they're sort of the afterthought, like we were saying. Look, these up here too. But since this is a water-soluble marker thing, crayon marky thing, we can go in and make it kind of look okay, I think. I might even put some of this water-soluble Neo color right here too. That's got to dry. They don't play well with the others, you know it's got to dry. See how it does that to the end of my crayon? Okay. Anyway, I am going to take a wet brush, probably a smaller one is good, and just blend out a little bit of this dark stuff so it doesn't look all perfectly shaped. Well, that was too much water. I think that drip machine marker's still wet under there, and that's what just happened. But we can always fix things like that. Thankfully, we can paint right over that. And again, it's supposed to be sort of messy. And people don't realize how much harder it is to paint messy and intuitively and like a kid or whatever. They're like, oh, a 5-year-old could do that. I'm like, yeah, but I can't anymore. You don't believe how hard it is for me at 52 to paint like a 5-year-old. But I want to, so thank you. If you think my art looks like a elementary, that's what I'm going for. So I'll have to let this dry a minute so I won't ruin too much more of this painting. But At least the composition's a little better. Because the base was like over here. And y'all didn't tell me. All right, and then I'm just gonna throw some like big chunks of maybe some white or something in some of these buds. Why? I'm never buying this brand of paint again. I just want y'all to know. It's a workout. Ugh, God. Oh my God. Okay. I do have a thing to stick in there to pop this thing out, but I don't know where it is, so I'm just doing this the hard way, and I'm wildly aware. So whenever I upload this video, maybe I'll put it on a faster speed so you don't have to go through all this with me. Ugh, okay. Now I'm wide awake. I was going to go to bed after this, but I feel like I've now fought the demons. I'm going to put this on dry paint. This is just to make it like even a little bit more abstract looking. So, well, I just threw that white paint everywhere. You can do this with any color, but I was kind of trying to cover up a little bit of that real hot pink. And white is the best to do that because it's the most, I mean, it's opaque, obviously, but I'm just going to take a teeny bit of this other stuff and mix it with this white. I did not mean to get that much out. Can you say a wasteful? But again, I used my really cheap paint on this palette. So, and I'll paint this palette up too. Y'all know how I'll be doing it. I really didn't want these to even be this much like flower looking, but not that there's any flowers that you've ever seen that look like this. But I wanted it to be even more loose than this, and I'm just not able. I try. I wanted that one to be facing the other way. I forgot. I just didn't want them all facing in the center, you know. So this is looking way more flowery than I planned. But that's what usually ends up happening. I need it to be further from what it actually is for me to like it. Or closer to what it actually is for me to like it. And I can't seem to get there. I'm always in the middle. In the messy middle. It's funny, some people be like, oh, I really love that floral. And I'm like, you can have it. They're like, no, let me pay you for it. And I'm like, no, please don't. Because I'm so disappointed in it. All right. Now I think I can, here's a little bit of white right here that's not used. I might just throw a couple light marks on some of these. It all ended up getting too close to the same color. Which we don't want that. I guess we can put like a center in the flower if we want to, but I'm going to do something with these leaves. I don't know what yet. Let me see. Let's see if I can put this green back on here yet. Yeah, it's kind of dry. So as long as they're similar to a leaf, I'm going to be okay with it because this whole thing got out of hand quick. And thank y'all for sticking with me if you did. Once I saw all of my errors. It's fun to do. It's fun to create messy things. I might highlight that with something white. But it's got to dry first. And I don't know if I should. Maybe I should just leave it alone. Y'all hear me sometimes when I'm painting. I'll be like, leave Brittany alone. Because that's what I think about my paintings. Is I can't do it. I cannot leave them alone. I feel like that dude crying out on that one meme. You know what I will do that'll look really cool? That helps really hide some of what you wanted to be better in the painting, but you just couldn't quite make it. Is do some splatter, like graffiti looking type, you know, like paint splatter, like very big splatters. It just hides a lot of like the stuff that I'm not happy with. It's like, oh, she did that on purpose. Look at how funky and abstract that is. She's so creative. And it's like, if you knew what I was really trying to do, I'm just trying to hide how bad I think I messed that painting up. I do like these different little areas of these highlights. Again, I forgot I wanted that one to be facing the other way, so it is what it is. We'll throw some white splatters on here, and y'all watch what I'm telling you. It'll look cool. Maybe I'll frame it and mat it for real instead of putting it in a mock-up app so you can see what it would look like. God knows you can do this with any color. Probably better to do something like this with a color that's not representative of flowers. That way it really looks abstract. Because mine almost looks like it is accidentally turning into flowers. This is just a really old junky brush. I'm putting some thinned out watery white paint on with over top of these wannabe leaves just for a little bit of extra dimension or whatever. I ran out of white paint, of course. There's a little bit left on the lid here. Let me do that again because I do like the way that looked. All right. Now what I'll do is, and I'm positive y'all have seen me do this before, is I'll put some drips on here with a, that's kind of white. That needs to be right there. Y'all ever just already put your brush away so you just use your finger? Because that happens to me all the time. All right, so now what I'll do is put some drips of white paint on here. And the best way to do that is take one of these and some high flow paint, which you can get out of your drip machines or out of golden high flow paint or something like that. But since my drip machine is already here, I'm just gonna squeeze some out. I don't know if y'all can see that, where I'm squeezing this high flow paint out. Because I gotta change that nib because I ruined it, I think. And then take it, I'll put it back over my painting. I don't think that's going to be watery enough. It's doing a little bit, but not much. If you fling it, it'll go everywhere, so it's better to tap it like this. Let me see if I have some more high flow white. It'll work easier. It's pretty empty. Those things are expensive, y'all. Very expensive. So I just watered that down. Now I'm putting it all over, even where the green leaves were, because it's white, it's fine. And then it's like a creative way to sort of camouflage the stuff you don't like. Oops. That's a big old honking piece of paint. I don't know if y'all can see that going on there or not, but it looks so much better once you get it on there. My arms are covered in little white splatters, but if you sling your brush like this, like you see people do, like that, it goes backwards as well as frontwards. Let's see if you can see it up close, how much better it looks when you do that. Just because it hides a little bit. And I'm gonna just make a little teeny bit with this pink Y'all, I just keep wasting this pink. Look at how much I put out there. Jesus be a fence. All right, so you have to water that down a lot to get it to do drips. I just wasted so much of that paint. I'm glad I got the cheap paint out, but my goodness. Okay. These will be bigger drops. I just got pink everywhere. I don't know if y'all see my hand. But I don't want to put that over the leaves as much. So I'm being a little bit more careful. To just get that over the pink. All right. Perfect. And then you have paint all over your hands like me. I always feel like I look dirty when people see me and they're like, what is wrong with that girl? Does she not wash her hands? I'm like, yes, I do 800 times. I'm sick of washing them. So this is where we are with this. I'm going to leave it alone and let it dry. And I'm going to frame it and mat it tomorrow so you can see what it looks like. But just real quick, I'm going to show you what I would do next because I wasted that paint. I don't want it to go to waste. Is I would take another piece of paper and use it. Ugh. I'm not going to paint tonight, but I don't want to waste it, so I just break out another pad like this and use it a little bit up like this, and then that'll just start another background for another painting. And that way it's not completely wasted. And then just set that to the side and it can dry, and I'll come back to that tomorrow or another day. And then I just move some of these other paints that are on this palette page around. And then one day when I'm bored and want to create quick art, I'll come in here and I'll decorate this palette page and mark it up with some pasta pens and stuff like that. And none of the stuff in my studio goes to waste. Sometimes I throw the tissues out, but like the one time I did such a good collage with them, I try not to. All right, there we go. So we'll get the palette and the painting. We'll see what that looks like whenever I get it framed and matted. Might be cute. Thanks for hanging in there with me through all of the messiness.